Episode 79 of Strange Brow Radio. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Tobe Johnson. How are you? Every Monday is when we do the show. So we are back. And we have some archive guests with us. One of them you'll definitely know who this is. And I'll tell you more about both of these guests in a moment. But first, you know where you love her. You invest your time and money into supporting our sponsor, Feral by Aaron, E-R-Y-N, all one word, Feral by Aaron at Etsy.com. So what are we talking about? I'm talking about alchemy sound tools. If you don't have one of Feral by Aaron's drums and you don't really know about the museum quality, you don't know about how they are functioning and what they function to do and how beautiful they are and well designed and crafted, well, go onto Etsy, type in Feral by Aaron. What are you doing right now? You can do it right now. Or not. Do it later, whenever you have time. Feral by Aaron at Etsy.com. Okay, we'll be right back with our guest. Tell you more in a second. On today's menu, the first entree will be an archive interview from Ron Morehead. Now, Corona, there was an event to happen in the town of Kingston, Washington, at the Point Casino. Yet again, another Sasquatch rendezvous meeting. But this one was Ron Morehead style. The alien connection to Sasquatch was the theme, the quantum Bigfoot connection. And as Ron, as their premier speaker, I was on the speaking roster, and some other great people as well. But I got canceled like everything else. So this was a sit-down, relaxed conversation with two microphones in hand at Ron's house. I have the luxury of being an hour down the road from, legendary Ron Morehead. And if you haven't figured out by now, he's been a mentor to me along the way as far as understanding the true nature of interacting with Sasquatch. So for that, I'm indebted, and his wife and my girlfriend are buddies, and they talk about agates and drums all day. So anyway, it makes for good conversation for Ron and I, in the back part of the bar as we talk about Bigfoot. So this first interview is with my buddy Ron. And then after that, we have another archive interview, pre-Corona. Bruce and Tina Smith from Oregon, they have some strange goings on at their residence. And so we talk at their house about their prior relationship with suspected Sasquatch activity and, their worldview surrounding just exactly what is going on at their property. So it's pretty neat. We rolled around in one of their little farm go-karts, I guess you'd call them. I don't know, little four-wheel mules that go through blackberries. We almost flipped it, if I remember correctly. But, it was cool. Bruce and Tina are good folks. So that is out in the field. And it always sounds good to do in-person interviews, as someone who appreciates sound quality. Although then you have the issue of fluctuating volume, and there's not much you can do with that raw volume when you have a microphone kind of fading away as, lawn equipment turns on or, Sasquatch comes in and carries them off. So that's just the way it goes. But I will be honest, I did recut the beginning of this show because I'm pretty pissed off about the current state of everything. But this is a strange brow radio, and we live in a strange world. And sometimes I think, gosh, should I start another podcast based upon the angst in me looking outward at the world? And then I think about the gleeful foreign powers that are toasting and celebrating in my anger. Because the United States is the united divided right now, and that's what outside agitators and influencers are hoping for. So as we look at the shit show that is Seattle and everything happening up in Capitol Hill, which I know that area pretty darn well, is it unexpected? No. I mean, the radical, hardcore Antifa types, these college dropouts and then professors have been rooting for anti-colonialism and modernity for a long time, and they have found the perfect opportunity to seize upon a justified movement, which was what happened to Mr. Floyd, protest in the name of his death. I can understand justified anger and rage over what that cop did. Although I will say that I have seen many a cop put a knee on a neck on many a different skin color. I don't know where it says that they weren't trained to do that. I don't know how cops were trained, but I have seen cops pull this move before. And I'd be surprised if you haven't either. So it looks like a really ridiculous, deadly move, and I don't know the heart of the individual that killed Mr. Floyd, but it's, a disgusting time, and I can understand the outrage. So the anger that is being seized, though, on the outrage to do things in the name of, vandalism is something that I struggle with supporting big time. So let's get to the show before I go on. All right, here we go. I just got to be honest with everybody here, right? I mean, I don't want to come on the air and sound like I have something on my mind and not bring it up. I understand where this show is meant to go. So that's where we're going to bring it back to. Let's bring it back to a familiar voice, Ron Morehead. All right, we're here with Ron Morehead. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Ron has coming up at the Point Casino. This would be a new style conference offered here near Kingston, Washington. How you doing, Ron?
Very well, Kobe. Toby, thank you.
Like Kobe better.
Kobe.
So tell people a little bit about what you have planned and what they can expect.
Well, I have a conference scheduled at the Point Casino at the conference room there on May 2nd. It's the Bigfoot UFO connection, and mainly bringing people in who can talk about the UFO and also the Bigfoot, which I've been involved in, as you know, with the Sierra Sounds, and I'll be playing those. But I'll also be introducing a different program that I normally do, which involves the connection that I feel is part Bigfoot is a hybrid, Toby, a hybrid. And I've thought that for years, but now that our government has acknowledged the UFO Tic Tac UFO the Navy came out with. Well, anyway, I think there's a very good way to point those together, and at least all these things are not of the same genome. Mm-hmm. So I present that and show the dots that kind of lead to that picture. And we have the Maury Island incident, the people who filmed that movie. It's about a 30-minute movie. They'll be doing a presentation and showing the film. So it should be interesting. It will be interesting. Got some different speakers, you being one of them, and Tom Powell being another. Those are more of the people who believe in the quote-unquote paranormal. But then, are UFOs paranormal? No, nothing's paranormal. It's just everything's normal. We just need to understand it. So that's what I try to do with my program, is bring understanding to people how so much exists that we don't see.
And you're going to have a abductee show up there as well, someone that hasn't done a lot of public speaking in general about this, a local to Washington, correct?
We'll probably have several. Not that it'll talk about it.
Right. But on stage, there is a presentation.
Well, we plan on that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I saw a little bit of the speaker roster there. So you have you, me, Tom Powell, the two partners from Seattle doing the Maury Island incident. Do you remember the other?
Maureen Morgan, she's a MUFON investigator for the state of Washington. director actually, and we have Eileen Meyer,
Okay.
and she's a very intuitive person who will be very interesting to listen to.
Okay. So Maureen, if you haven't seen her speak, you can find lots of YouTube videos with her. She's kind of an open book to accessing information about the paranormal. She's really well versed in it, and she's totally approachable when she's on stage. I've only seen her speak a couple different times, but she does monthly meetups here as well, just right outside of Sequim, Washington, down in Port Townsend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's where you spoke.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Not too long
I
ago.
spoke there twice, I think, since I've been here.
And so I was at that conference. We recorded a little bit of audio, but it wasn't airable because just the microphone was placed in the wrong spot. So I want to follow up on some of the things that you said while you were there, because now you've really leaned in. Well, you never were really dithering on your approach to an alien hybrid theory about what's going on. But now it's to the point where you can't really talk about your case and all these other cases without it being enveloped by the alien phenomena. What? The things that happened to you up on the hill, Ron, weren't soaked with alien information. I mean, you saw lights only on a couple occasions. Why have you leaned so hard in on the UFO stuff? Have you been told things privately? Are you finding things with the evidence that links them to? I'm trying to figure out where you are.
Well, it wasn't just the lights. There was other things happening up there. Things, just strange things, and things that, besides the vocalizations we captured, and had studied. We heard sounds we couldn't put a source to. I mean, there's things going on that we just, and as much as those things were close to us, we never got to see them all that much. My daughter's seen them 3 times. I've only saw them once, and that was just one of them that night when I was interacting with them. But they have some attributes that we're getting into. That's why I wrote my book, The Quantum Bigfoot, because there's a quantum aspect to these things. We're all energy at our most minute source of being. We are all made of energy. Energy only changes form. It never dies, according to Stephen Hawking, according to Einstein. So I've studied this quite a bit. I'm not a physicist, but I definitely kind of think I know how it works. And I put this together with some of the enigmas that we were trying to figure out back in those days, in the 70s, when they were interacting with us very close. And it just, the only thing that makes sense is the fact that we don't know everything there is to know. You think you do. We think we're the top of the food chain here, but I'm not so sure about that. And I think we have perils that we're looking forward to. Not looking forward to, but we're doomed to, because we're screwing up our planet. And I think aliens are probably trying to hybridize our species. They've a lot of reports of people being abducted. There's at least 17 reports that I'm aware of that they've removed implants from people from unknown source who claimed they were abducted. And I've talked to people that claim they were abducted. Very sincere, heartfelt people that just they don't really want to talk about it because it scares them. It really scared them. And so I think there's a hybridization program so their species, whatever species that is. There's a lot of different species of aliens. You got to admit that. I mean, most people would acknowledge that. And they want to acclimate their species to this planet. So when we do screw up everything and plant that bomb, and it throws everybody a curve, all us humans anyway, their species will be okay, because they will survive that like animals do. And that's why I think a lot of Native Americans have spiritual guides. Animals are the spiritual guides, because animals seem to make it through catastrophes because they don't depend on what we depend on. They're totally natural to this environment where we're not. And I think that's where we've gone wrong as humans. There's a way to make it right, but we have to understand what we're really made of and look deeper into ourselves to get that right within ourselves.
So the people that you've talked to that have had alien encounters, that have had maybe implantation, are they seeing UFOs? Are they having alien contact in known squatchy areas?
Yes.
Okay.
They've seen them both at the same time.
On board? Like when they're taken?
I can't get these people to really get it. It just freaks them out.
Okay.
One of them very well, I think. And in fact, you know 2 of them very well. 2.
Maybe. I don't
Maybe
know.
you know a whole
Maybe
lot
I know.
more.
I might know. I don't know. I don't know the two you're speaking of, but I've heard about it. Even Linda Moulton Howe wrote me in private years ago when I was trying to get her to speak in Oregon. And she said she'd be happy to speak about Sasquatch because she's interviewed people that have seen them on board. And it was almost as though they were just as much of a victim as the humans were to the experience. You know, kind of frozen in time, waiting for the next step to happen inside this pewter, hollowed-out ship.
Once you're in space, once you're outside of this environment, time doesn't exist as we know it. It's not the same. So you can be in another dimension, and time will not pass like it does in our three-dimensional world. So people need to understand that. Time is not like we think it is. Everything's in the now. And that's one aspect of why things are aged differently. That was proven by the astronauts who've been up into space. They're not the same when they come back. Things have changed time-wise. And it's interesting. We're living in a very interesting time. And I think what I have and the dots I'm trying to put together for a picture is refreshing to people because it puts some of the unanswered questions out there and hopefully gives them a hope for an answer.
Have you had anything privately revealed to you? You don't have to answer this question, but because people contact you, people that are in the know. Have you ever had anybody reach out to you, Ron, that has given you more than enough information about the connections you're drawing?
Well, it's just what they say. You know, you got to take it and just put it in your head, because if too many people say the same thing, then you got to think there's merit to it. Or if you've experienced the same thing, you realize it's confirmation for yourself. I've had a lot of people tell me things, and special things. You know.
Well, what about like a Robert Bigelow type? Have you ever got a phone call from a George Knapp type or a Bob Lazar type and say, hey, keep doing what you're doing? I understand the work you're doing.
Yes.
I read your book.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Not those specific people, but yeah, people who read my book really are refreshed by it, I think. And I haven't had any complaints that I know of.
Right. But you've had new information that you could add to your book since you wrote it.
You know, I do, but then you get new information every day, just like you do probably, Toby. It's just information pours in from different people, experiencers who've experienced something. Whether it really happened or not, it's in their reality, and they think it has. So you kind of bring into your life what you put out and what you want to see. Even Abraham Lincoln said, you find what you look for. And some people look so hard, they find things that really, are they there or are they not there? You know? So you have to kind of analyze all that from everything that comes in and just try to put it together with what makes some kind of sense.
And to get the new information, people have to show up to this conference because every day you're getting new stuff. Tom's getting new stuff.
Every day.
Yeah.
I wrote my book, 2 years ago almost? But I worked on it 10 years before that. And there's new information I know now that I didn't know then that I wished I'm not ready to write another book yet, but still, it's a lot of work. This quantum theory is a big deal. Because it's how everything in the universe actually works. I had people chime in on me right from the book and said, "Oh, that's pseudoscience," and there's only one guy who did that actually. And I said, "Well, show me where." You know, it goes with ancient scriptures. It goes with trying to put spirituality back into, science, which I think they're synonymous. Really, you get into how spiritual people think, and it goes right into quantum physics. And I think even Tesla said that. He said, what one man calls God, another man calls quantum physics. And that was like, when I read that, I thought, that's a great quote.
Right. That's one to
That's
steal.
just how I think.
Right.
Okay, I'll go with that one. It's because of how I think.
Yeah. Who do you lean on as far as people that you think are a good resource? Because a lot of people lean on you and say, well, it reminds me of the Morehead sounds. This is quantum Bigfoot. They're using your verbiage. Who do you go back to and say, well, this is who I've, actually borrowing from as far as ideas?
I try to stay with science, not just people, but scientific people who, in quantum theory anyway, because really I don't lean too much on anybody except what's been established the quantum field of that. And I try to get my inspiration just from meditation, to be honest with you. I was asked the other day, have you ever read this book, that book? Because it goes right into what you're talking about. And I said, no, I really haven't, because I don't want to be influenced by somebody else's ideas. I want to be influenced by what I think I can do by meditation and receiving, because prayer is when you're asking for something. Meditation is when you're receiving something. So we quietly meditate for a minimum 20 minutes every morning, and we just sit there and try to receive. And you got to learn how to do that. It's not an easy thing to get your beta state that we're in now of awareness, which is totally cognizant. You got to get into the alpha state of sleep, awareness. You're not asleep yet, but then you go into the theta state, which is your deeper sleep. That's where Tesla got a lot of his answers. He'd wake up the next morning and he'd have his answers, because in the theta state, you can get into a lucid dream too, where you can kind of understand your dream and remember it, because every dream, I think, could be another reality for you, another dimension perhaps. You have nightmares once in a while, but what did you watch just before you go to bed?
Right.
Carrie had one last night because we watched the Star Trek something. See all those aliens are after her.
Right. You could have Vulcans chasing you around your apartment if you're not careful.
But, somebody asked me years ago, well, you sound like Stitchin'. You got to get this. Well, I got his book, but I got to tell you, it's on my shelf. I've never read it, because I don't want to be influenced by somebody else's meditation. I want to get my meditation going.
Right. I guess the only thing I would take issue with in that is the fact that you could validate, first of all, what you were already thinking about or what you're theorizing, and then maybe build off of somebody else's theory and see what else is going on. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Getting to your meditations, you ask questions in prayer, you receive in meditation. Can you tell us what you've received? Are there things that...
Well, it's every day, Toby. You just relax. You try not to be analytical about anything, and that's a big deal on interacting with these things, I think, because if you're being analytical, trying to trick them, trying to do something, camera-wise or whatever, they're going to be ahead of you, because they know things, and they are interdimensional, I believe, but that's an attribute given to them by their alien father, whoever that is. They have to have a mitochondrial DNA, the maternal side of a human, or some type of primate that exists in this environment on Earth in order to exist here. But they also have other attributes that's been given to them. And they've been here for eons. There's different types. I'm pretty firm in that. I used to say, well, I think there might be, but I'm pretty sure there is, just because of all the reports I've heard, all the reports I've read about the different things they do. There's bad ones, there's good ones. It depends on what alien. And I'll go back to this. How many different species have been on this Earth trying to do something? Some of them can live in this environment, some of them can't. And I think that's one reason.
Some people think that they've come from somewhere else and have been planted here. There's people that have written books just about that very thing. Do you have any feeling about that, or any knowledge about where they come from, or if they're...
Well, it's not one size fits all. Some of them could have been that way, and we know who those people are that think that way.
Right.
But everybody wants to make one size fit all. Well, this is a Bigfoot, and just like the Patterson film, there was a footprint up there, and everything's going to be graded by that. If they don't have the metatarsal break, if they don't have this, that, and the other, well, it's not going to be accepted. Well, they're not all the same. And I'm not sure what we were dealing with up there, but it had a big foot. It had a big foot, it had a big voice, and it was big. So, it could have been a straight alien. It could have been a hybrid. They could be relic hominids, just like, our professor friend talks about. The relic hominids that's just evolved over the eons, but where'd they come from?
But if we have humanity, and we're all Homo sapien, and we come from one Genesis, surely it would be okay to at least theorize that there's one type of Sasquatch species and that there's different variations of them coming from one Genesis.
You could say that.
Do you think that way?
No.
No, not at all.
No, I think...
Okay. You think it's so multi-layered that there could be several answers?
I do.
That's okay. That's real life. There's The dogs are welcoming in a cloaked Sasquatch right now into Ron's secret lair.
No, I just believe there's been different types of beings on this earth, and they've done different manipulation to the genome of different type of animals too, not just people, not just primates, but dogs maybe. Where'd the dog man come from? Is there a dog man? I don't deny anything because you don't know. I mean, it's like the Skinwalker Ranch. You know, you got to wonder, is that credible? Well, the government thought so. You know, put $30 million into the study.
Right.
So there's more going on than meets our eye. We only see within certain parameters of light. And light has a frequency. Everything has a frequency, and including us. If you can match the frequency, you can change the matter. And that's how I think biblical miracles were done, by changing matter. And you do that through frequency.
Was anything else seen up in the Sierra camp besides Sasquatch and lights? Were any other creatures seen? Was there any alien interaction that you heard of? Nothing like that?
No, I never witnessed it. No.
You never heard any stories like...
Not from any people that I knew up there, the guys that were involved.
What about time distortion? Did you guys ever experience...
You know, we were being pretty inept with all that stuff. We weren't paying attention.
But looking back, you never had a bonfire that was dead, and you don't remember the bonfire ever being gathered around or something like that where time
unless
seemed
maybe they
odd.
threw some more wood on it while they had us away.
And let's be fair, you guys are up there hunting and in the evening, probably relaxing, having a couple, beers and just hanging out. It wasn't... Did you ever get into the study method of, like, we're going there strictly to study with these brothers? I mean, at times other people were, but, I mean, you were up there just as an invited hunter in the beginning, correct?
Yes.
And then how quickly did you immerse yourself into the laboratory portion of this?
Well, you have to wonder about it. I mean, it's the very first time you go up there, these things around, so you always got it on your mind. But we were, let me back up just a second. There was no beer involved in the camp.
It was a sober camp?
Very sober.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And no drugs, no nothing like that. It was a very sober camp, and everybody was serious about hunting and taking home their game. And they've been going there since the 50s, the Johnsons had. I got invited up there mainly because this guy wouldn't go back. It scared him out so bad. And I was a friend of the family, so I got invited in, and that kind of got me into the group. That's when I started hunting, actually, because prior to there, I just worked day and night. I didn't have any fun. This was exciting to me. Still is. There's still things going on outside of what we can see.
Right down the road. I mean, you live, I'm not going to give away the location, but you live in prime habitat here in the Olympic Peninsula to where you can access interaction with not only the Bigfoot stuff, but the UFO stuff is pretty hot here, too.
Yeah, there's been hundreds of sightings of something in the sky here that doesn't look like an airplane. I think it could be a drone. No, it's 30,000 feet in the air, and it all of a sudden it just disappears. Well, Gary just seen that the other night, and I guess
Carrie had a sighting just the other night.
Well, something, you don't know what it is, but I guess a whole lot of people around here were reporting it.
Okay.
And it wasn't a plane coming in. It wasn't, something was sitting still up there with a bright light.
Okay.
Just stuff happens. This is where like you say, the Maury Island incident happened here in Tacoma in the 40s, and there was some, 6 or 8 or 9 maybe UFOs sighted around Mount Rainier same time, and a lot of also there was in 1966 there was a USO, which is underwater submersible, under the water right over there in Seattle, and strangely enough, Hal Berry, who never wanted to get off in this field at all,
right,
just wouldn't. He told me about an incident when he's come back from Catalina Island, him and his wife Dee, and he seen this light coming under the water, just fast, really fast, and I mean nothing can move that fast that we know of, and it shot right underneath the boat, and just and he never would talk about that because he didn't know where to put it, because regular academia doesn't get into this so much. You got to have somebody that's open to it. And unfortunately, Scientific, and Al had a master's in science. He said, you got to stay with science, and you get out of that, you lose credibility.
Yeah, no, the Maury Island incident, too, is a really interesting case with a lot of specific details that these filmmakers They do a reenactment documentary. It's like a half-hour, docu-series with actors portraying certain parts. And there's a lot of details I didn't know when they showed that, including the Men in Black stuff, which is not really something anybody really believes in. The Men in Black thing is really difficult. It's a great idea, but because it's been so commercialized with, Will Smith, everybody thinks this is a joke, but they think Bigfoot's a joke too. So when you layer it up with UFO, Bigfoot, Men in Black, it just comes into a spectacle.
Well, that's unfortunate because that's believed by a lot of people. The B-25 that crashed on the way, taking some of those remains from the UFO down to California. Those two pilots, died in the crash. Mm-hmm. So none of that stuff was found.
Right.
And why did that happen? Why didn't they just bail out? Mm-hmm. They could. A lot of mysteries with that whole incident, and it'd be interesting to see this film with these guys.
Mm-hmm. And it was on or near around the same time, I think, that things also happened in Roswell.
Exactly. It was actually 2 or 3 days before that.
Yeah.
Before Roswell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just enough evidence to kind of make you wonder, like, is it linked? How are these things put together? Was one the real McCoy and the other one a plant job? I think that was one of the theories that I heard as well.
Maybe it was the same ship that got in trouble up here at Morehead.
It could have been.
Went down to Roswell and crashed.
Mm-hmm. So what is the exact name of the conference? What are we calling this conference again?
Well, I don't have my flyer. I think it's called A Step Beyond.
A Step Beyond, yes.
Okay.
So are you willing to take other stories outside of the Bigfoot and UFO world? If people want to come here and, just go totally out on the fringe levels, can they come there and maybe hear other stories too, or share other things if they want to? Can they get other...
Well, as long as they stay on a little bit on the subject. We don't want to hear about their grandfather, something.
Unless he's dead piloting a UFO ship or something.
Bigfoot passed behind the car 20 years ago.
Right.
I want to tell you about this. Spend 20 minutes doing it. So there will be a question period after the Maury Island show, which will be the very last on the program.
Right.
And we've allowed for a little bit of time for that. So if people want to come up and ask questions. But mainly it's about questions and not testimonials. It's about what they will question about the program.
Right. What I'm alluding to as well is, Whitley Strieber said that his incident had to do with death, which really shocked his audience. But he experienced death in his own private life with his wife passing. But he thought it had something to do with the spirit world. Alien contact did. And he was even wondering whether or not his alien experience was implanted itself. He didn't really know how to describe it being solely physical. So there's this whole thing of like the spirit world immersing itself into the physical world, and in his version, passing on. So I don't know, maybe people will get into that.
Well, everybody, whether they like it or not, whether they want to admit it or not, is a spiritual being. We all have something in us because that's called energy, and it doesn't die. Religions will call that heaven. Science calls it dimensions. So he probably experienced something. At least within his mind, he believes it. And you can't just ignore that. It all fits together. We're not separate from our bodies. We are one entity, spirit, mind, body.
Right.
And this body just changes form. And that's just a fact. It's been established by science.
Which is a given because you're a spiritual person.
Yeah.
But hardcore scientists who are only interested in the flesh and blood.
Toby, they're working with Newtonian physics from 1687, and that's what we taught in the 5th grade,
Right.
So, no, there's more to it. And they're accepting that as the final, everything's material, physical, measurable, predictable. That's just not the way it is. We got to live with that because that's what we deal with in this three-dimensional environment. But there's more going on, and that's where quantum physics comes in. And that's why Planck and Einstein, Bohr, Tesla, all these guys from 100 years ago, that's when they had to figure out how everything really works because Newtonian physics was not answering everything. So what I bring up in my presentations is, why can't they work together? Why can't you just expand your knowledge of the scientific community, or get them to get out of their discipline, I should say, because it's all been put that way. And in fact, Glenn, no, not Glenn, what's his name? Mitchell, Edgar Mitchell.
He was an astronaut?
He was an astronaut. He said, Dr. Edgar, he said, it takes classical and quantum sciences together to have clear perception. Mm-hmm. So he knew some things.
Remind people what Edgar Mitchell was famous for besides being an astronaut. Did he come forward with a sighting of his own?
He's made quite a few statements.
Okay.
You can read them.
Okay. He passed on?
Yes, he passed away. Everybody's passing away.
Right.
You don't say die anymore, though. You just say pass on.
Right.
You passed on to something else.
Right.
Yeah. And in fact, well, we do. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is.
Well, it's comforting. I mean, it makes you...
Well, it is very comforting. I mean, I'm not afraid to die. I'm getting older. We're all getting older, right?
Mm-hmm.
The alternative to that is not good.
Well, since you are getting older, I'm getting older. Do you feel a race a little bit in your heart to get to the information a little bit more than you used to, Ron? I mean, you're so immersed and close to these answers, but we're all, against the ticking clock of time. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about that. Like, are you frustrated by how little you've come away with, or are you encouraged by how much you know?
Not at all. I'm encouraged. There's still people trying to film me and do stuff like that. So that encourages me to get my word out, because I think I put some things together that would be appealing to people and acceptable, because it's based on fact, scientific fact, a lot of it. And what is also is my experiences. And you see all these researchers going around who's making these claims as being experts, but they've never experienced anything,
Right.
And until they have, they will never get out of that box. And they're apers, I call them. I used to call them.
Right.
They're just quality people that have not gone far enough. And if they would just consider what I'm saying, that's my goal. Try to open this up so that people will understand how the universe, how this world, how we are made completely. And try to just get a little better handle on it, because it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this final question here to put this in perspective. Have you ever met anybody who's looked into the claims that you're making that Sasquatch is real? That not so much that they have a language, but let's just go your claim that Sasquatch is real, and walked away and actually looked into it and come away with it saying there's nothing real about it. I've never met these people before that look into it and walk away and say they usually walk away and say there's a whole lot to it. And oh, by the way, it's super weird, like Ron's saying.
I've never witnessed a person like that.
No.
Once they look into the facts, and that's unfortunate, because most people won't look at all the facts, what's really out there, what's available to them. If they just look into it, I mean, you take the sounds that we recorded, what we interacted with up there, they were physical beings at the time, where they step in and out of dimensions and other things, with a cloak, do they do that? These questions, is there a scientific way those questions are answered? Yes, there is.
Right.
And anyway, those people, once they look at the facts, they don't question, but they start looking better. And I love that part, because that makes me feel like I've done something okay. But the people who really deny it are the ones that have a closed mind. I had a cousin like that. If something like that was out there, we'd know about it. Well, that means you know everything there is to know.
Right.
Do we really know everything there is to know? Don't think so.
Nah, on that note, this is Ron Morehead, A Step Beyond, May 2nd.
May 2nd.
May 2nd at the Point Casino in Kingston, Washington. It's an all-day conference. Tickets are not available yet. They will be.
I think they're available the 17th.
Okay, coming up in the web.
No, wait, that's a different conference. I'm not sure. We call the casino. It's posted.
There's posters up at the casino at this point.
I think they may want to take reservations, because there's only so many rooms. I mean, there's a lot of rooms, but there's only so many, and it will be full. I'm quite sure of that.
Okay. And I'll try to release some of my own groundbreaking stuff that nobody's ever heard on this podcast, including sounds, definitely video, and it should be a lot of fun. Something different offered here near the town of Kingston, Washington. It'll be beautiful weather by then, for sure. It's summer's on the way. Why not spend it out here on the peninsula? Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Toby.
Okay, so I am here with Tina Smith and Bruce Smith, and together we are at their house. They invited me out to their house to tell their story. And Tina, you reached out to me online regarding some similarities in what I was describing as far as Sasquatch activity on people's property and this other phenomena that seems to be somewhat attracted to Bigfoot activity. So I just arrived at their house here, and I'm sitting here with their 2 dogs. What are the dogs' names again?
This is Data. Yeah, big Star Trek fan.
Okay.
And that's Lady.
Lady. Okay. And we have a poodle and a Pyrenees.
Yeah.
And I mentioned before that it's interesting that you have, well, it's anecdotally interesting that you have a Pyrenees because they're not only really good guard dogs, but they seem to be really keyed into when Bigfoot is around, at least my experience. So we'll maybe come back to...
Oh, God, she barks all the time, so we never know.
Okay. There's no clue. Okay. Well, maybe...
Except for one time.
Yeah.
There was that one experience.
Well, let's get to that first. Anyway, let's start from the beginning here with why you think you have activity and what your experience is. Because I know, Bruce, you had a sighting. You saw something a while back, haven't you, regarding Bigfoot?
Yes.
Okay. And Tina, you have had a sighting?
I haven't seen him. I've just heard and smelled
Yeah.
and experienced that kind of thing.
Okay.
I have not set eyes
Okay.
on one, except for eye shine.
Is there a scanner on?
Oh, yeah.
Let me just. Oh, no, that's okay.
Sorry, let me
We're it's just part of radio here. I hear. Maybe that'll come into play though later. We may hear a Bigfoot report.
Yeah.
Just to let people know, when I drive onto the property, I see 2 signs about Sasquatch. If you trespass on the property, Sasquatch is going to rip your head off. And I thought that was really awesome. So I can appreciate that.
I have another one that says, do not cross unless you can do it in 29 seconds because Bigfoot can do it. Bigfoot can do it in 30.
That's right.
Come back in your chair and relax.
He's trying to get better audio.
Right. The reason I'm leaning forward just to make sure I can hear you because our audio levels here. If I had a better system, you guys could just hold microphones. But why don't we start from the beginning here, what your first indication was that Bigfoot even existed?
I never had a doubt because when I was little, I saw the Patterson Gimlin film, and I'm going, that's cool. Now, when he was a teenager, maybe in his early 20s, he also saw it and decided to go find Bigfoot. Got on his motorcycle and headed up to Bluff Creek. But about halfway there, he had an intuition that his dad was in trouble. Turned around and went home, and his dad had had a heart attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. So we moved up here in 91. We came from the Gold Country along Interstate 80 in California. And I was a deputy coroner there. Lots of experiences up there. Didn't know what they were. Okay. That's a whole nother episode. So we moved to 91.
Well, let's talk about that. What kind of stuff would happen in California? Because it was kind of the beginning of you understanding that this could happen to you.
Yeah, it was, most cops are pretty three-dimensional, focused straight ahead. Black and white. You either committed a crime or you didn't. You either witnessed something or you didn't. And you don't talk about stuff you can't explain.
Sure.
But I worked in Placer County, and there were areas that just gave you the heebie-jeebies. I mean, we didn't like to go there. And we found that car accidents were common there. Prowler calls, wildlife issues, cougar sightings, bear sightings, for instance. That was more up in the foothills. So and I worked midnight shifts a lot. And, you know, you go on a prowler call, and mainly we were looking for people, you know, but there were lots of deer around. Mm-hmm. And so you heard that. And I think back now with what I know, and I'm going, oh, you know.
Looking back, some of these prowlers, some of these animal sightings could have been something different.
Oh, yeah, could have been something else. And also where we were, we had 2 Air Force bases. There was McClellan next to Sacramento, and then there was, Beale Air Force Base. Okay. Now, at that time, that's where the spy planes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see, it was Placer, El Dorado was south of us, and then there was, Nevada County.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure it was Nevada County. My brain.
That's all right.
Elderly age. Anyway, Nevada County. So every once in a while, those deputies, if you were working the flats, you know, they'd say, come meet us over, you know, to the county line, because they would get word that the jets were going to take off. So there was one place that was away from the base where we could sit up on a little hill and literally watch the tarmac slide open like an elevator. Oh, yeah, it was because, and you could hear the rumble.
A hidden elevator underneath the tarmac?
Yes, the runway.
And what would pop up?
Well, it would open up, and here came the elevator up, and the jet was already going, okay? And the minute it popped up, that floor hit the runway level, they'd hit the
thrusters.
Yeah, that, you know, the afterburners.
Boom,
and they'd go almost straight up, take off, because they weren't supposed to be there.
Okay, wow.
It was a big secret.
Okay.
Anyway, but it was.
And was this top secret aircraft, or was it just?
Oh yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah.
So what did you see? Do you remember what you saw?
Yeah, it was the black spy plane.
Like the Black Hawk, the B-1 bomber that kind of looks like a triangle?
Well, it's definitely a triangle with a... Yeah.
Okay.
They were so cool to watch.
Stealth? Like stealth craft?
It was a stealth fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fabulous.
And what area was this?
Well, this is in the Sacramento Valley, just north of Sacramento.
Okay.
And Beale Air Force Base.
So it's probably still there.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
So people are still kind of clued in that...
But I don't know, how secret it is anymore. The population's so much more there now.
Right.
So they probably move stuff elsewhere.
Now, was there conversation about other things going on there? Weirder stuff?
There is a classic case right next to Beale is Solano County. And in the late 70s, just before I got hired on in that area, there was a Solano County sheriff's officer that chased a UFO. And for years, people had the recording. His Solano County said, I'm in pursuit of lights, and it's above the ground.
Really?
Oh, it was classic. And it lasted for like about 30 to 45 minutes.
Now, there's a fairly well-known case about a police officer chasing a UFO, and it collided with his car and dented...
Was it Ohio?
Don't know. I was wondering if it was
Midwest.
this... Okay.
It's not this guy.
Okay, gotcha.
And this poor guy, he got... he was always referred to as UFO, whatever his name was. Right.
Oh, UFO Larry, UFO...
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they always, gave him...
So you grew up in an area that was sort of active with secret military stuff, but you weren't tying any of this cryptid stuff together. No.
I actually grew up in L.A.
Okay. Well, you're miles away from that now.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been up here?
So in Oregon, we've been here since 91.
Okay. Yeah.
But I moved to Northern California when I went to college. Oh, man. This is back 71.
Yeah. Going on 30 years up here. Okay.
Long time ago.
All right. 28. And Bruce, you're kind of the man of the house here. You've lived here for like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And
28.
Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Sacramento Valley.
You did. Is that where you guys met?
Yeah.
You did.
I served him a subpoena.
And it was love at first sight.
Yeah. Hour and a half coffee break, yeah.
Wait a second. You serve him a subpoena. How long till you guys are dating?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean-
the next day.
Were you guys dating relatively quick?
Oh, yeah. 'Cause
Originally, she was working for the SO Sheriff's Office, and I was working for fire department. And I decided I'd get see what law enforcement was about, and so I joined Davis PD.
Yeah. It was. I was a reserve at Davis PD, and so were you.
Okay. Did you become a deputy?
A reserve deputy,
Okay.
Yes, reserve.
as well as my fire department position.
And what year would that have been?
76?
Yeah, it was before I
70.
went
No.
down,
Yeah,
Okay.
before we married.
Yeah.
We married in 80, and so it was probably 78, 79.
Okay.
Yeah, because in the 80s, I was at Placer County.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys start dating, and then you
Mid-70s.
became inseparable after that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what point did you have your Sasquatch encounter? Describe what your worldview was, Bruce, beforehand. How did it impact you, and were you ready to see something like that? Take us back to that day. What year, first of all, did this happen?
Okay, let's see. We were coming back from...
Oh, were you with him?
Oh, yeah, I was
Okay,
driving.
so you both saw it. It wasn't just
No,
Bruce.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I was driving. I missed it.
Okay, so take us back, Tina, and then I want to hear Bruce.
So I was driving him back from a doctor's appointment in Newburgh.
Okay.
We were coming down 99W. And we're gone through...
In Oregon.
Right, in
Yeah.
Oregon, sorry.
That's all right.
And we were south of Amity, and just a little bit north where the railroad tracks kind of loop around on 99W before you reach the Rick Riel Highway 2299 interchange.
Okay.
So
and
I'm
so people know 99 is like all the 99s. It's just a
Yeah.
long strip, occasional farms, and then a
Yes.
bunch of businesses, and then back to farmland.
This was basically all farmland.
Okay.
Okay, and there was like a small hill that was pretty forested, They hadn't cut down the trees. And it was wheat, so it was summertime. And the wheat was dry, not green. And that's when he saw something trucking along the tree line at the edge of the field. And I missed it. I was driving.
May I set the... All right, where the sighting occurred was along a highway that we were cruising. There was a little ways from the road was a railroad track.
Right.
On the other side, there was a big green field of some sort that had not been cut. And on the other side of that was some trees. And then there were some trees on the front on the other side as well.
Right.
And the Bigfoot was just kind of walking along in the middle of the grain field.
Now, this is about between, I'm going to say,
Had to have been
3 and 5 p.m.
after our marriage.
And what time of month?
So, in the summer, so it had to have been...
Still light out then quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, it was light out. Yeah.
It wasn't like today when it's dark at 5.
No.
Right.
This is summertime. So, we had, another 4 hours of light afterwards, easy.
So, Bruce, what did you think you saw at first? What was your initial instinct?
I had no idea what it was. It was a close to black figure, total. There was no other color on it. And it was just walking along, talking around, and I couldn't make its facial details out. I couldn't see how long the hair was or anything else. And so I had to right along a little while and thinking about what the hell was that. And it was a little ways down the road that it finally came to me that, yes, you saw a Bigfoot. Do
That's when
something
he
about
said
it.
it to me.
And so that's when I turned and told her that I had just seen a Bigfoot.
And I flipped a Yui.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
You weren't scared?
No, God, no. I wanted to go see it.
So you're an adventurer. Like you want to see this, reckless and abandonment, perhaps? Okay.
Yeah, so I flipped a Yui and we went back. And I almost went all the way back up to Amity to help him figure out where it was. And, of course, it was gone.
And how far away was it, Bruce, when you saw it? How far off? Was it more than a football field? Was it less than a football field?
It was probably just a tad more
Okay.
than 300 feet.
So that's pretty close. I mean, you can tell
Not
whether.
my eyesight.
Well, back then, how was it?
My eyesight?
Yeah, back in those days.
He has excellent peripheral vision,
Uh huh.
but he's got macular
Degeneration.
straight
Okay.
on. And you have to understand, sitting in the car, that's how he saw it, was in his peripheral, and he's learned.
Oh, was the vision better on the periphery?
Oh, yes. It's
Okay.
almost perfect on
Okay.
the periphery.
I look at
But-
you in the face, in your face, and it's gone.
Yeah. If he
So
looks,
over here, it's better.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
where my pupil is, that's
Right.
where you see your detail. The rest of it is just approximate. Your face is gone. Where my
Most people would be happy about that. So, so what? Back then, though, was your Mac degeneration, was it pretty high? I mean, did you have good enough vision that you know what you saw?
no, I don't know what I saw.
Okay.
I had to think about what it was that I saw. It was far off enough to where even though I had good macular vision, I had to think about what the heck
But he knew
was
it
it
wasn't
that I saw.
human. He knew it was not a guy walking. And as fast as I flipped a Yui and got around, there was no farmer out in that field. There was no equipment, no
Right.
tractor, no ATV. Nobody was out there.
But and looking back, Bruce, do you question what you saw? Do you?
No, I know that it was a Bigfoot now.
You know it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the only thing it could be.
Too big? Is that why?
I have no idea. I have nothing to
Scale.
establish a
Right.
height.
Right. Did it look as though it was small?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't small. It was big.
It was big.
What the wheat was probably about 2 to 3 feet tall then.
Wheat or barley or I have
It
no.
had to have been 3 feet by then, midsummer.
Yeah, I don't know when they cultivate or cut the crop for wheat, but generally it's over 3 feet.
Yeah.
And was it taller than the wheat?
Oh yeah.
And it was taller than the wheat.
Yeah.
Its hands were scraping about the top.
Oh, sliding across the stalks of the wheat.
very top,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It was about the top of the grain,
Uh-huh.
and it was just walking along.
Okay.
At the time he told me the wheat was mid-thigh.
Okay. Did you write any of this down? Did you journal any of this?
I did.
You did, because you look like someone who might do that, and not everybody does.
I did. Yes, I did.
And again, when did this all happen, Bruce? How long ago?
I don't know.
It was
Understand,
Yeah.
I've got short-term memory loss. I've got
right.
macular degeneration.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got all kinds of
Yeah,
things wrong with me.
but it was years back.
and it's a number of years.
Yeah, a number of years back.
I will tell you.
Okay, now I'm looking over here at Tina. She's got
My
her logbook. It's called the
this is
Squatch
my-
Research Team. It's a wooden journal. It's got a wooden binder
Yeah.
and a Bigfoot logo. So she's a serious researcher. She's not just armchairing it here.
Oh,
She's
my skeptic.
and we got a turkey outside the window, and we've got a
Oh no, that's a peahen.
we got a great Bigfoot
Oh,
statue here.
That's the John St. John.
Is that Momo?
Yes,
That's great.
that's John St. John.
I'm gonna have to take some pictures here. These are great. It's a really good detail on this.
I helped fund Seth Breedlove's
Oh, you did?
movies.
Oh, yeah.
And so at a certain,
Yeah, a certain price range.
you get,
Yeah.
I love
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's a peahen. She adopted us.
Oh,
She just
she
showed,
adopted you.
Yeah, she showed up one day.
Okay, she's here now
And
for
she
good.
stayed. Okay, so my skeptic son-in-law bought this at the Oregon shop up at Portland.
Oh, yeah, they've got the Oregon gift shop where you
Gift
can
shop,
buy.
yeah.
They have Bigfoot memorabilia.
Yeah, so oh, that's the Mercer.
Well, while you're looking at for there, I'll come back to Bruce.
Okay.
So, Bruce, what's happened here at the property since you've been here? Do you know if you have activity here that you think is related to the phenomena at your house?
I think there has been, but there's a lot of assumptions involved in it.
What kind of assumptions? Give me an example of assuming Bigfoot. Have you seen stuff in the day or night
I've seen nothing of Bigfoot. I have seen nothing that I can look at, point to, and say, that's Bigfoot.
Right.
Or Bigfoots. But there have been some curious things,
Okay.
and I can't even remember those.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'll go through them.
She's got her book.
2016.
Oh, that recent.
2016.
Okay.
We were going down 99 from Amity. Okay, and that's when he saw.
You mind reading what you wrote there?
So yeah, late summer 2016, hubby and I were returning from Amity, and near the crossing of the railroad tracks at 99, Bruce saw Bigfoot walking along the tree line and grass pasture. It was dark, walking very smoothly, taking huge strides. And that's what I had down there.
Yeah, that's pretty specific.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a real detail.
Well,
I just kind of.
no, I'm just looking at the totality of what you're doing, and so you're chronicling.
It's for me.
What else are you chronicling there besides that? Is this all Bigfoot related stuff?
This is only Bigfoot here.
Stuff here
Yeah,
at the house?
it's only here.
Okay. Well, let's start with that then. Why did you start journaling stuff around the property? Your property.
You know, after they were whistling at Lady, and after
Your dog.
yeah, our dog, and I'll go into that more detailed. But I've been following Jeffrey Gonzalez, who has a YouTube show, and he and his wife are experiencers. They go Bigfooting on researching all the time. Anyway, she got nailed with infrasound. Okay, and literally 3 days after I had my experience, I heard his episode, him talking about, was a live show, about what happened to them up on the Sierra foothills above Fresno. And I went, oh, it clicked. I went, oh my God, that's what happened to me and Lady. Now I get it. And that's when things started to mesh and fall into place. And what I started documenting was when we first moved up here. I love animals, as you can kind of tell.
Yes.
Yeah. Hubby says the only reason he's still alive is so that I don't throw up in the doors and let the forest come and live inside with me.
Your next move.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Doolittle.
Yeah, that's about it. So I had documented that we had so much wildlife out here. Deer, we had minks, pheasants. People would, and this is sad, would dump their rabbits and their cats off down the road. So, you know, we had all these domestic rabbits running around, and of course cats. And life was just abundant around here. And grouse, pheasants, you name it, was just tons. Fox,
Right.
minks, what else? That
So your house became kind of a sanctuary for
This
forgotten, lost, and not wanted animals.
yeah, and this whole area. We used to see pheasants out in the pastures on our road, you know, just tons of stuff. And then about Yeah, that was about the first 15 years. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, wait a minute, where's all the wildlife? Why aren't we seeing fox running out in the pasture or the minks anymore are gone? And the deer population has really dropped off. Now, understand we have some gatherers.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, they're poachers.
Oh,
However,
okay.
these people eat what they harvest.
Gotcha.
It's not wasted, you know.
Right.
But, you know, it's irritating.
Okay.
Anyway.
Unlicensed
Yeah,
hunting.
you know.
Gotcha.
Just decide
All year long?
all year long.
You
yes.
hear it happen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I just noticed that things were, I figured, well, it must be because people are moving in, but it's not really that bad. And I just go, where's all of the wildlife?
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of tucked in the back of my mind. Then one day, we have a steep road at the end of our road. The paved road is kind of steep there. And people come up over that hill and fly down. And a while ago, we had this is terrible. We had a woman that would feed the deer white bread.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. You know,
Bleached white bread.
They loved it.
Yeah.
You know, so they knew Irma's going to feed us in the morning. And they would all head over to Irma's house. And, of course, it was across the road. And people would fly down the road, hit a deer. And where do they pick? They come down our little windy dirt road and dump it off the cliff. Well, it stinks to high heaven, you know, after a few days.
Right.
And so we kind of you don't really get used to it, but you understand what's happening, and you grumble about it.
Sure.
And you go on, okay? Because after a couple of weeks, then it stops, and, you know,
It's the price of living in a rural
Exactly.
environment. You have to put up with what the locals are doing.
It was about, okay, here we go. 2014. We head down the road, and it was a summer day, nice
So this
day.
is 2 years before the sighting.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. So we're headed down, the windows are down, a nice day. Yeah, it's summer. I'm going to say summer. We're driving down the road, and the S curves, and there we get it, the smell. And I go, oh my, somebody's dumped a deer off and it's rotting.
Sure.
You know, so we go to our errand in town, we come back. And he was recovering from several surgeries, so he wanted to walk a little bit, get a little stronger. So we're walking down the road, and we stop, and he goes, where's the smell? And I go, yeah. So now, here I go. I'm going up and down the little, looking for the deer carcass. There's nothing. Mm-hmm. There's nothing. And I'm going, well, that doesn't make any sense. So, and it was the overwhelming, make you gag practically, stink of rotting meat and bleh. Mm-hmm. Okay? But nothing was there.
And it should have stayed put if it was a deer. Right.
Then I started kind of looking around because now I'm in the frame of mind of wildlife, right? So I'm looking around and I grab him and I go, look at these trails. Now, for years, we had these little itty-bitty 4 to 6 inch trails all up and down the foresty area, through the blackberries and the ferns and the trees. Well, now they're 12 inches to 18 inches wide. And I'm going, what could be doing that? And there are no little kids around here at this time. We had little kids way back when, but they're none now. And nobody's, this is, you know, free, no fence. So nobody's running cows. Nobody's running horses. This is.
Is there low-hanging brush, too, on those trails that is being pushed back?
Now, I don't think I noticed that.
Okay.
At that time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I noticed it at that time.
But you noticed enough to chronicle this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going, what's with these trails? Because I know people aren't hiking around.
Right.
Because we don't see them. The dogs aren't barking.
Right.
So what's doing it? And we don't have bear. So I know it's not them. Anyway, so that again, that's in the back of your mind.
So you're adding things together that could lead to something more.
Yeah,
And you're
it's
writing
just,
this down
I'm
as you
just
go
kind
along.
of tucking it in the back of my mind, going, "That's odd. It's different. It's unusual."
Now, are the neighbors at all talking to you about strange things happening during this time? Nobody?
No.
Do your neighbors and you traditionally talk?
Yes, now we do.
But back then?
Back then, we did not have friendly neighbors.
Okay. Right.
They weren't sociable. Didn't want to be sociable. So.
Okay. I got you. That's typical.
Leave us alone. So, all right. 2015, at my age, you have to get up in the night. Mm-hmm. And it was in this summer.
My age, too, by the way.
Yeah. So the bathroom window was open. And I swear to God, I heard... I mean, that was quiet, but it was like, it was like, what? What the hell was that? I go, that was not a coyote. And the wolves around here are domesticated,
Right.
This
is coyote country and cougar country, and that's about it.
Yeah. Actually, there's a twist to that now. We actually have coy wolves now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long's that been around?
Well, I saw him this year.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what happened.
Okay. Involves the dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Involves the dogs, yes.
Okay.
So anyway, that was, 15. And then, okay, so
when you had the sound, the imitation you just did,
yeah.
Besides hearing it, was there anything else involved with you physically as you heard that sound?
No. I got chills.
Uh-huh.
I got chills, and it was like, no, I can't be hearing that. Mm-hmm. No.
Did it go on for a long time?
Yeah, it really did. It started low and went up, and at its peak, it was really loud, and then it drifted off again.
Was there anything mechanical about it?
No, this was all. This was all animal-like.
Okay.
Mammal-like.
Did it sound like any other animal you'd heard before?
No, I've never heard anything like that.
No lumber mill around here that could sound like that. Nothing. Okay, so you ruled it all out.
Closed.
Okay. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, spotted owl.
Yeah.
Spotted owl.
Yeah. Anyway.
We could go there.
Yeah.
Next podcast. Yeah. Well, one of the interesting thing about the spotted owl is one of the conspiracies is that the spotted owl was actually an excuse to test the market of what would happen if they disclosed Bigfoot, to see what would happen to the lumber industry. So put out a species that would be easy to blame.
So what they're doing.
I don't know if that's true, but it's an interesting story.
I'll tell you what they're doing. Because you start looking at your Google Maps and you see the little green patch areas.
Right, the plots.
Suddenly showing up. If you go out there and check them out, you're finding old growth trees and they're leaving that stuff alone. And this is what they're doing, I think, because they come up with this stuff. There's this rare flower that we don't want it to get lost forever. It go extinct. Bullshit. They don't care about flowers.
Right.
They don't care about that. They do care about, an example is, people getting thrown off cliffs at Yosemite. Those people are not falling. You can't tell me between 5 and 10 people fall off the trails.
No, wait, we took a big right turn here.
We
No,
did.
tell me, well, I want to know more about that. How are you relating this to that?
Because the Forest Service and the government are slowly expanding places where you can't go anymore.
More and more gates are going up,
Yes.
less roads
Locked
available.
gates.
Yes.
Lock gates.
Do not
posted,
enter.
You can't come in.
Can't even walk on some of them.
That's correct. Okay. Now, Jeffrey's documented this up in the hills above Fresno. Okay.
Jeffrey
Gonzalez.
Okay, the YouTube guy.
He's documented that stuff. I've seen it up here. We used to be able to go all throughout The roads up here 10 years ago, not anymore. Now you're told you can go from point A to B and nowhere else. If you have business or if you live up there.
Right.
But you
can't hunt.
You can't hunt. You can't hike.
Right.
You can't take a bicycle. There's only one spot now where you can bike up off of Black Rock Road.
Yeah, and I've got an interesting story I'll tell you after that, off the record, regarding what you're describing, which may add some credence to what I think you're saying. Okay, so
Anyway,
this
so
is
we
going
got
on all around Oregon. It's really bad in Washington State right now, to the
it
point where
is.
it's, in Oregon, it's always been assumed that if you wanted to go up into the country for a Sunday drive, you could get to the Coast Range,
Yes.
which is a 2 or 3 hour drive through the back roads. You could
yes.
drive up.
We used to do it.
Yeah.
We used to do it. We used to head out Valsets and we could go all the way to Lincoln City. You can't do it anymore.
Right.
They have blocked it and locked gates all over.
Right. And, there's jackhounds out there that are having illegal fires and dumping their mattresses off.
Oh,
and
yeah.
meth factories, all that stuff ruins it for us. But there seems to be something else going on
There
here,
is.
just with the stuff that's happened in the Pacific Northwest, mainly here in the Willamette Valley. There's something else afoot.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And it's been within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot stricter. And I don't think it's just because of illegal dumping
Right.
or camping. I really don't think so.
It is the perfect excuse because it exists.
Sure.
And if you say it's much worse than it actually is, then you have your excuse
Right,
to close
there's your
down
excuse.
a major artery.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you start noticing stuff going on around your house. You're starting to see
Here we go.
new trackways, and now we're moving into the journal
Yeah.
here. Now,
2017.
okay, you've got a schematic here as well with this one. So now we're not only getting into note taking, but now we're getting
I
into
made pictures.
little maps. This is good. I love this.
So 2017, okay, spring. And what I used to do is I had chickens that I would put in their coop at night because we have raccoons that live in the barn, and I feed them.
Oh, you had pet raccoons. Well, that's okay.
Anyway, I found that if I feed them dog food once a day, they leave my chickens alone.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because they're not starving.
Right.
Okay, they get a little bit of a meal, then they can go forage and do their thing. So I was putting the chickens away. I had the dogs out with me, and he's very he sticks right by my side. Usually he's
Your standard
he's
poodle.
a real mommy dog. You know, it's mommy's over here. I'm going to stay with mommy. But she's a knothead. They're very independent. Pyrenees are. You know, they got something in their brain. Boom, they're going for it. So something triggered her to run through the barn and start barking out the back of the barn. And I can take you later to show you. But I was putting the chickens away. And I thought, okay, well, she does this, you know. She barks at squirrels and deer and people and whatever. Squirrels are big, you know. So I thought, you know, that's what she's doing. So I put the chickens away. So this is the evening. And if it's in the spring, it's going to be about 5-ish, maybe 6 in there. And bark, 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 bark. She's really going to town. So I put the chickens away, which is on one side of the barn. Walk around, go through the barn, and call. And he ran back to the house. He wasn't with me. He ran back to the house for some reason.
So the one that usually stays by your
Yeah,
side.
I don't know why he did that.
Did he chicken out? Was it like...
I don't know
Okay.
why. I didn't pay attention. I was more irritated at her for not coming. So I go out to the back of the barn and yell at her, come here, you know. And of course she's not paying attention. She's halfway up the hill, okay, and bark, bark, bark up at the road. That's the end of the road is up there, and the neighbor's house is up there. and I hear a long, drawn-out whistle at my 2 o'clock. She's up about, I'm going to say, 25, 30 degrees. The road is up about maybe 35 degrees, okay? And if you put the clock up there, the first whistle comes from the 2 o'clock position. And now I thought it was the neighbors being pissy, okay? So, you know.
Sure.
So I'm looking for human. I don't see anybody. And then I'm getting irritated because that's really mean. My dog is barking. I'm trying to call her because I'm sure she's bothering them, you know, and you're whistling at her?
Right.
Really? You know, you're going to have me coming up the road,
Right.
up the hill. So, you know, that kind of irritated. So now I'm stomping on the trailer back there because it would get her attention. Hey, come here. And then there's a whistle. Now, mind you, 15 seconds have elapsed between the first whistle, which is over at my 2 o'clock, and now there's a second whistle at my 10 o'clock. Now I'm really looking for somebody. Okay, because now I'm going to say something. But I don't see anybody up there. I'm not looking for dark shapes or people peeking around trees because I can see the road. Yes, there are trees in between and a little bit of scrubbies, but I can still see the road up there. And I'm, what's going on? And the whistle was a monotone whistle. Long, drawn-out whistle. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard anybody.
So not like a bird at all.
Ooh, no, I know all the birds.
Yeah.
I'm a bird person.
Birder.
I know all the birds, okay? And it was a good,
Like a single note.
just a single long note.
Like a...
Exactly, but lower. It was
really?
lower. Yeah, it was in the low tones.
Okay.
Okay. And long. And I'm going, what? I didn't, I was still thinking neighbor, teasing dog. That's where my main head space was. So when the second one went, then I cussed at lady and stomped on the trailer and she came.
She came back.
Well, she recognized the bad words. So.
Did the dogs recognize this whistle?
No. Oh,
They
no.
didn't pay attention to
No, I'm
it.
the only one that whistles around here. I do.
Right.
When I call them, I do the typical woo.
But you never do that whistle that you heard? Have you ever
No,
done
I
that
can't
whistle?
do it. My lung capacity can't do that.
Do you ever play the flute around here or any kind of instrument?
Yeah, I do have a flute.
Do you ever play it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever warm up with the flute and play a single note?
Well, no.
No.
No, it's always a melody.
Okay.
Always a melody. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that's got a native flute around here.
Did it sound anything like that?
No.
No. Okay.
No. You know, this is going to sound funny, but it almost sounded like a train whistle. But it was just one note. It wasn't the multi-layered to my ears. It was just the one note.
Are there train whistles around here?
No. We haven't had a train come into town for years.
Could you ever hear a train whistle
Oh,
from
yeah.
here? Back in the day you could
Oh,
have?
yeah,
Would it have sounded like that?
No.
No.
It's different.
So,
It is just different. It was like a big man was standing up there. But see, I can't do it. Was long
and close.
and close. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was up on the road. I know it was up on the road.
Did you feel eyes watching you? Did you feel something up there?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was human.
Right.
I thought it was a neighbor.
But never in your mind did you think it was an animal,
No.
piece of machinery,
No.
or a bird.
No.
It had to be something with giant lungs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a low tone. No birds around. The only low tone bird we have are the great horned owls up on the
Right.
ridge there. And, you know, they don't sound off during the day. Ever.
Do they ever come in on your property?
I have another story about them.
About the owls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hear them all the time. But
Okay.
something happened this last year that when I started listening to your podcast about the owls, I went, oh my goodness. Maybe those weren't the owls. I'll talk about that later. Anyway, so I got her down in the house and I was grumbling at her. And then the neighbor, I was grumbling about it.
Oh, you're
it
grumbling to Bruce.
Oh, yeah, I was
You're
grumbling.
You came back to the house
I was
and
grumbling.
yeah, and he's like,
Yeah, it's
right,
typical.
right.
So,
Yeah.
So a couple days, and I'm listening to Jeffrey's show, and he's talking about how Diane went back to the car to get something, and her boys were up with Jeffrey up in the COs. Yeah, I nailed my arm with a car.
Oh, you got a little bruise there on your right
I
arm.
pinched it. I was folding it up to recycle it.
Okay.
I said, fine, next time I'm not going to recycle it. I'll just burn you in the
Right.
Anyway, there's the ADHD. And so she was back at the car getting something, and Jeffrey and the boys were out in the meadow over a football field away, a ways away. In fact, she couldn't even see them. They were in a meadow behind trees and stuff. And somebody starts whistling at her. And so she thought it was one of her kids. And she's going, ha, 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 very funny. And she keeps doing what she's doing. And then maybe 5 minutes pass, and here comes everybody back to the car. And she's going, that was real funny. Because she's ha, ha, what are you talking about? You were whistling at me and, trying to scare me and do all this. And they both stop. They go, no. She goes, yes, you were. Yes, you were. And we're going, no, he was with me in the meadow. Nobody was out here. And so then she got freaked and got in the car.
Did she describe the whistle?
It was kind of like, yeah, she did. It wasn't complex. It was kind of started, I'm sorry.
So it wasn't a
whistle.
single note.
Was not a single note, but it wasn't complex. It was kind of low and up. And yes, kind of like that.
Upswing to
but
it.
Long. Do.
Oh,
Do.
really?
Okay, that's what it was. Well, okay, so tuck that in the back of my mind. They start down the hill from their experience. She gets violently ill.
Oh.
Jeffrey's got to pull over. And, the poor gal is vomiting and just her head is ready to explode. And she is sicker than a dog.
This just comes on out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, and so she was in bed the rest of the evening, and it took a sleep cycle for her to get over it. Have you heard about that?
One
From
sleep cycle?
Kunbo
No.
on Bigfoot Outlaws
No.
talks about when you get hit with infrasound, it takes one sleep cycle to cleanse your body from it, to recover from it. That's exactly what happened to her.
Really?
And so when I heard that show, I'm sitting here, messaging Jeffrey and her to let her know, sleep. You need to sleep after that and drink water because that'll help your body recover. And so he didn't know about that either.
What about increased signs of emotional trauma after that? Did she seem different afterwards?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Well, she won't go back up into the hills.
Okay.
No, she will not go
She
bigfooting.
feels like something happened to her.
Oh, yeah. She will not go bigfooting again.
So she relates the whistle sound to that moment.
Oh, definitely. Because Jeffrey got camera footage of it, something running.
Oh, wait,
in
we
the
missed this
back.
part. Okay.
Yeah.
So someone had a camera.
He had cameras stashed all
Oh,
up.
game cams.
Game cams.
And he caught something.
He puts them up like 30 feet in the air. Okay, and he caught something.
Running.
He got it running.
Okay.
And fast, good Lord, almost a blur. Like
Okay.
that. His game, where they go, I think is about 50 miles west and about 10 miles.
This is towards the coastline at 50 miles.
North, right.
Yeah.
North of where Ron Morehead had all his stuff.
Oh, so it's back in the Sierras.
Yeah, up
okay.
in the Sierras.
Okay.
It's not that far
Okay.
away from Ron, where Ron had his stuff, if I'm correct.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. So then when I heard that, I realized, oh my God, that may not have been human up there. And now things started falling into place. The lack of game. So I talked to Jeffrey. I said, Jeffrey, this is what's going on here. And he goes, oh my, yes, you need to start documenting all this stuff and keeping an eye. And so, so that was in 2016. Oh, that fall, I since I'm part native, I go out to the Grand Ron Health Center for some stuff like dental
Check up and
eyes and stuff like that. So I was headed out, and of course, now that I think Bigfoot's around, possibly, I start doing more research. Honey, do you want a different chair?
No, this is perfect because I can.
Do you want a pillow?
Nope.
Okay.
It'll keep me active.
Okay. Well, that's right. You're ADHD like me. That's right. Anyway, so now I'm kind of Bigfoot's on my radar. It's not just something way up in the hills. I'm thinking, And I happened to stumble across Colorado Bigfoot's YouTube channel.
Right.
So I'd been looking at his stuff. I'm going, the structures and stuff. Well, this is fascinating. I'm on my way. I'm on Highway 22. And we're halfway between the Valley Junction, which is 18 and 22. And no, I'm not even halfway. In Dallas. I'm about a third away. And I'm cruising along. I'm kind of looking at the trees. The poor people behind me, I slam on my brakes, pull off to the side of the road, because there, in the tree line, along Mill Creek, is a huge X of 2 trees.
Right.
And I'm going, those trees don't even belong there.
Different style of trees.
Long, straight trees. And I'm going, holy cow. So I flip a U-ey, I go back up the hill and come down and stop, and I am taking pictures.
Right.
Because these...
Now, what does that sound?
No, that's the noon volunteer fire siren.
Okay. Now, let me hear this for a second on the recorder. I want to see if this recorder will pick it up. So we hear something outside here as we're doing this interview. It sounds like...
It's the old air raid siren.
It is. And you're saying it's the siren for the volunteer firemen?
Yeah, it goes
like
off
a test?
noon.
11:58. So there's a time schedule for it.
Yeah.
And that's never been mistaken by any neighbors as being Bigfoot. Okay.
Everybody knows what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, we hear it go off. It's like, oh, quick, let's get on the scanner.
Yeah. Well, let's take I'm going to take a break here.
Okay.
We're going to cut to commercial. And then when we come back, would you be willing to take me outside and show me around?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we'll do. We'll go outside and we'll get to know this area a little bit.
Jump in the gator and take
Yeah, I
it
need keys to the gator. I don't know where my key to the gator is.
What's
Is it out in the gator?
I have no idea.
This is getting exciting. A gator is going to be involved here. Okay.
Well, it's kind of a sad gator.
Okay. We'll be right back with
You
the
have
sad
to turn
gator.
it off to change gears.
Let me
Down there.
Okay, we're back here with Tina. We're looking at her gator, which is her John Deere
I'm gonna have to.
RV, and we're walking into is this the barn?
This is the barn.
Okay.
I used to put the chickens in that coop, but now I've got them all trained to come up front because I can make sure they're safe.
Okay. Well, you got a stalls here and
Oh, yeah.
everything. This used to be an operating ranch for sure.
Horses.
Yeah. How many horses did you have at that time?
Man. 7?
And did the horses ever have anything interesting happen to them?
I don't think so. I
No.
don't think they ever did.
You got gorgeous cedar slabs here too. Raw slabs that are anybody would pay a bundle for.
Hubby and I are children of Depression era parents.
Right.
And so trying to get us to throw stuff away is like,
Don't throw those away.
no.
Live edge slabs. And so we're walking past, what is this, an old Pontiac? It looks like a...
It's an old Z-Rock.
Oh, wow.
It's an
How
old
cool
Camaro.
is that?
Old Camaro.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I love it.
So I was out here,
Uh-huh.
and oh God.
So now we're at the spot where you heard this
Yeah,
whistle,
well,
this extended, low-toned, single-bar whistle.
The roof was up. It's down now. But
Okay, it's kind of
was
fallen a
up.
little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was standing here. Lady was right up by that tree.
Mm-hmm.
That one right there.
Okay.
Okay. Just down, barking. The first whistle came at like 10 o'clock. So my angles are wrong. Not that high. She was like, so they weren't that high. It was
Okay.
more like 15 to 20. And then the road is up there, I'd say 25.
Now, was that house up there, too, at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a trailer over there. And it's the same people.
So you feel like that whistle came from the bushes before the road?
Yeah. Do you see the
Okay.
bushes right
Yeah,
over there?
sure.
Yeah. Okay, just past that.
Uh-huh.
And then you can't see the other one.
Right.
But it was more over. Oh, you don't want to walk. Don't get near that stuff.
Oh, I'm okay.
It hangs on to everything.
You should see where I hike.
Okay, so see the group of trees
Right.
straight up out that corner?
Yeah.
That's where the other whistle came from. So it was just almost equal to where she was at. And so I was thinking, after I started putting this together, I went, she would have made a good meal. Mm-hmm. No two ways about it, 100 pound plus.
Have you ever found any sign of something being killed out here that looks weird? Like a mutilation or an odd killing of any kind?
We've seen deer carcass.
Was there anything strange about what you found? Because you mentioned
Twisted heads, broken legs, I don't know.
What about carved parts? Anything that looks like it may be
Not that I
mutilated?
noticed.
No. Animals?
I just didn't notice it.
Like pets? Chickens?
See, I put everything up at night because it's the way to be with your pets, to me. I don't leave anything outside.
Sure.
Exposed. So I haven't noticed. I know that when the other neighbors were over there, she was like a cat collector. She lost cats all the time. All the time. So,
And that could just be
could have been the coyotes.
explainable,
back
but
then.
maybe not. Okay.
Okay, and so we're good.
So we're going back past the Camaro here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 78.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah.
This is something you'd skip school in. It's a T-top Camaro.
Yeah. Oh, not T-top. It's fully convertible.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. It needs love and care. He's just not up to it.
Well, it's all right. Things are slowing down in Bruce's world.
Yeah. This is mine. That's my baby.
That's your baby.
So, yeah, we had a barn owl that was coming in here, but I don't.
Let me ask you about back in here in general. Have you ever noticed anything moved in a weird spot or anything go missing and then return?
Missing and return.
Yeah, or anything that just vanished. Just like, well, where would that have gone?
Oh, my whole life has stuff vanishing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why you have a that's why you're
Yeah.
chronicling all in a journal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Move. Yeah, you know what? Yes. I have noticed like shovels and rakes moved that I didn't move.
How so?
Well, okay, so I'm notorious for getting distracted and leaving something.
Uh-huh.
Like I had a shovel because I was working at the little pond,
Right.
and I put a shovel there because I was going to be planting some bulbs. And where did I find that sucker?
It was far away from where you put it, though.
Well, yeah, it was like up by the car,
Okay.
as I remember. And I know hubby didn't do it, but see, we don't have a locked gate.
Right.
So,
What do you assume that means?
well, I'm just thinking that one of the kids may have come by and thought, oh, Mom left her tools out again.
Okay. So your kids drop by.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah.
do. Yeah, they do.
Have they had any experiences?
Not Bigfoot wise.
No. What have the...
You have to understand that my children were raised knowing that it's a multi-dimensional world. Okay, so I'll give you. I'm gonna think I'm terrible parents.
No, this is a good can of worms.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I got mad when my girls were in 3rd grade because the teacher, who I thought was kind of a slacker, said she wanted to put one of my twins in. Well, first they want to split them up. I said, no. They don't want to be split up. They're not going to get split up. So that kind of pissed the school off. And then she goes, well, this one should be in special ed. I said, she's unique. She's not stupid, She's not. She doesn't need to be in special ed. Just deal with her. She just saw things differently.
Right.
And I celebrated her uniqueness. Okay, well.
Good for you.
Well, it kind of bit me in the ass later, but.
Okay.
That's okay. We didn't know.
Right.
And she's a wonderful daughter, and I love her. They're both great. But anyway, so I got mad and said, fine, you're going to do all this junk. I homeschooled.
Right.
Well, one of the things we would do,
What would you do?
we'd go out ghost hunting, okay? I'd drive around town and we'd talk about what houses felt weird and what we...
How old are they at this time? This is getting good.
Between 9 and 10.
Oh, you got really young ghost hunters with you. Okay.
Oh, we had a blast.
Now, wait a second. Were they sensitive?
Oh, yeah.
Was that part of the uniqueness?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Were they seeing things?
Yes.
Okay, do you?
I don't see so much. I do sometimes. You should see my grandkids.
Oh, so it's going down the line.
Oh, man, big time.
And
yeah.
did it go up the line toward your mother?
Yes, but nobody...
Talked about it?
No, they wouldn't.
Okay. Is that part of natives?
Well, yeah, what happened is when... This is going to go back in history. Miami is our tribe, Miami, and it's up there by the I'm not saying it right. Anyway, Ohio.
Okay.
And the surrounding tribes. And you know where the Serpent
Yeah, Serpent Mound is
okay.
in Ohio.
Well, that's our tribe's area.
Okay.
Okay. And those were the ancient ones did those.
The mound
Not my tribe.
builders.
Yeah, ancient ones did those. Okay, and they were really revered. So when the government rounded everybody up, put them on reservations, and then they got land grants. Okay, then the government says, wait a minute, if we offer to buy up their land and relocate them, then we can get them into the white community.
Right.
And of course, that's what happened to my family. So their land was bought up.
Integrated.
Yeah, they were moved to L.A., and so that's where that happened. So they shut everything down. Some of my ancestors went to the boarding schools, and they were horribly beaten if they spoke their language or did any of the spiritual practices.
Right.
Everything was shut down. And so when they came back home and had their own family, they would literally lock themselves in a room to speak their language and it's really sad. Anyway.
So a lot of the old practices, including being a seer,
lost.
someone who's intuitive to these things, especially as a native,
Right.
You hide it.
Exactly.
Because
And you don't talk about it. That's right. Okay. So all that was put under the rug. We don't deal with it. So now I'm having to find it, learn about it, and get it back. And so that's why I brought my girls, and we got a lot of Irish in us too. So.
I will tell you something odd has happened to my recorder here that doesn't usually happen. Is that, and I'll ask you this question here: electronics.
I'll back up.
Now, is there something to this?
Yeah.
Because I charged these batteries before I got here.
Yeah, I'm
And
sorry.
these are brand new.
And there's lots of stuff around here.
Yeah, so I'm down to 1%. And
Do you need to go get more
usually,
batteries?
just so people know, I can record for 14 hours off a single.
Oh my God.
Yeah, off a single
Wow.
recharge. So that's pretty interesting. What other things happen here as far as battery drain?
Well, battery drain. Yeah, battery drain. I go see a doctor down in Corvallis, and she tries to take, my blood pressure measurement, and I was kind of excited the last time I saw it, so it crashed 3 times. She goes, "That's okay. We're not going to worry about it." Yeah, and she's familiar with
Right.
me. And
Do you
I do
wear a
that.
watch?
No.
Can you wear a watch?
Yeah,
Is it malfunction?
like a Fitbit. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So computers crash around you, things like that?
Not too often.
Uh-huh.
Just sometimes.
Okay. And you think maybe the land might have something to do
Oh,
with this? 'Cause
I
you
know
say
this
this land
land.
is haunted.
Yeah.
So what have you seen around here?
Well, there's been curses. Okay.
There's been
Yeah.
curses. That's
Yeah.
a pretty strong statement.
Well, yeah, because there's a really bad oak tree down there, and
There's a bad oak tree.
it's a bad oak tree.
Okay. Well, I want to know more about this.
I think it was a hanging.
I'm going to
tree.
look out for the bullets on the ground here.
Yeah. Okay. You see that hanging right there?
Yeah. What is
Okay.
that?
Well, don't go touch it because it's sharp.
Uh-huh.
It's a protection amulet.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it
and
something you put up?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I do. And I give them to people too if they need it. But basically, it's to ward off negativity.
Okay.
Okay, so, and it's like when my grandchildren, there's one particular grandchild, the youngest daughter, to give you, she had her school, they do the review, how you doing, and report cards and stuff like that. And the teacher and principal were in there on the conversation, and they spent the whole time talking about our mediumship abilities.
Oh. Okay. As what, a bad thing?
Oh, no,
Okay.
not at all. But they're just kind of going, it's really interesting with Serenity around because,
She is
oh, yeah.
totally locked in.
Oh, totally. Her grandma Jan is also gifted. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Let me describe what I'm looking at here. So this is an oak tree.
No, it's a
What?
walnut.
It's a walnut tree. Yeah, okay. Walnut tree. Yeah, there's little shells here. And then hanging from the tree on an old mossy black rope is thorn bushes and mirrors roped together with twine hanging from this rope.
And inside is a prayer. and
Broken
then
mirrors.
Yeah, inside is a prayer.
Now, where's that?
It's tucked
Between the
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Tucked in there
you
along
wrote
with-
a prayer.
Right, it's a
Protection
protection.
prayer.
It's a protection. Protect everybody that comes to visitors in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's animal or human, whatever.
Now, would you put this up no matter where you lived, or is
Yes.
there something unique about?
I know. Inside, outside, yeah.
Okay, so you have this place gridded and locked down.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it upsets hubby. Now, he says he's not sensitive,
Uh-huh.
but it upsets hubby if stuff starts happening.
Give me an example.
Um,
And see, now this sounds like we're going off
I know.
a
We're
tangent,
totally going off.
but I don't believe we are. I think this comes right back around to where we began.
And I want to, that's the apple tree I want to tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went with a friend and my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are going to think I'm nuts.
No,
Anyway, we
no.
got in the car and we started driving and we started following red-tailed hawks.
Okay.
And we ended up over in Sisters.
Oh, so you went for a real drive.
Oh,
That's a
it
good
was a
three
real
and a half.
walkabout.
3.5.
It was a good walkabout.
Yeah.
It was an all-day walkabout. Yeah. Okay. So we went up into Sisters and we found a place. I don't know where we were. We were up in the hills and there were houses. And we got off on a little turnaround. And we just felt like that was a good place to kind of meditate and do our thing. And we had drums. And yeah, we were happy.
Yeah.
And enjoying ourselves, and it was a beautiful day. And so then it was time to go home. Well, it's really volcanic over there.
Totally.
So I scooped up a bunch of, volcanic
no.
stuff and brought it home because it was important.
Yeah, I heard something off to the left of me. Did you? Just now?
Well,
Is there someone working?
no,
Okay.
I don't hear anybody out.
Okay.
Just my little birds, my little finches.
No, there was a
there.
wood knocky sound about less than 100 yards from us over behind me.
Oh, yeah,
Did you hear those too?
Well, I hear them all the time.
And do you attribute that to Sasquatch?
No, I don't pay attention unless it really gets my attention.
Okay.
Like the time I was out working here in the foresty area right there. It's foresty because there's a water pipe that goes up to the holding ponds. Kabam! And I mean, you couldn't mistake what it was like. Hello.
Right.
Yeah. So I just stopped what I was doing. I said, hi.
Right.
How you doing today? It was in the afternoon.
Right. Okay, so
Okay.
we're still in front of this tree here and in
So,
front of her protection amulet.
Oh, I know what I was telling. So I had the volcanic, crumbly soil, and I brought it home. Well, apparently I did not ask if I could take it with me, because Bruce woke up. You brought something home with you. He goes, there's 3 native guys standing in the doorway of our bedroom. And he didn't feel like they were there to do harm. But they I oblivious slept through it. So then the next day I said, oh, I am so sorry. I should have asked if I could take this soil home. It really means something to me. And I will honor it and respect it. And so then everything was okay. So poor hubby gets upset if
So
something.
he definitely
He
experiences stuff.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't want to put it on record.
Well, he would, but he might not remember. He's got
Right.
horrible short-term memory
Right.
loss. So, okay, this apple
Well,
tree.
real quick here, here's the deal: is I'm gonna have to change out
Okay.
these batteries here. So, folks, excuse me one more time. I'm gonna grab some fresh batteries, and we'll be right back. All right, Cowboy Bruce is up and
Yeah, that's
working
right.
his ranch. It's good to see you out on your ranch.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the sheriff's back.
Yeah.
Cheers back. Okay.
So I had one of those.
You tell them about the apple tree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I had one of those motion sprinklers to keep the deer
Okay.
off some plants and
Right.
apple. And I would come out and it was pushed face down.
Let's explain too what happened here. My batteries drained suddenly.
Yeah.
Bruce has come out here because you said, Tina, phenomena has started. Have you experienced any of this electronic draining of batteries or electronics going gunny bags on you on your property?
I've experienced batteries going dead.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a vacuum right now that's batteries gone. But I never noticed anything.
You never associated it with the paranormal.
No.
But have you experienced ghosts around here, paranormal stuff, apparitions?
He might not remember.
And you don't remember seeing anything around
Remember,
here?
I have a short.
Right, you have short-term memory loss.
Yeah.
I just wondered if it was something that would come back to you. If it does, let me know,
Okay.
because I'd like to hear about it.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, she did. She told me about the Native Americans that you had seen out here when she brought some pumice back from Bend.
Yes, that's what it was, bummus.
Yeah, but you don't remember
He
that
doesn't
moment.
remember,
No.
Okay, well, maybe it's for the best. It might be.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we headed next?
Okay, so
I've got fresh batteries
that's a good thing.
for now.
So that by the pool on the other side is where that sensor was that would spray
Okay.
water to keep the deer. It's not out there now, but so I found that shoved face down twice.
Okay,
Now there are no kids around here.
like shoved in the dirt.
Yeah, just shoved down,
Okay,
and there's no kids.
okay,
The grandkids didn't come over
right.
and do it. Nobody was here. And, I'm going, what's going on? So you can see the faucet right there. It was just on this side of the faucet.
Okay. And we're
Shut
outside
down.
your... Go ahead.
Yeah, so I shoved down. And I thought, and then I realized I thought to myself, oh, maybe they're trying to get apples. That's when I said, help yourself to everything 6 feet and above.
Yeah.
Just save some down low for me. And then that's when I undid the sensor.
Right.
Because I didn't care if the deer came. And by God, the next night, all the apples were gone from 6 feet
Yeah, and
above.
they're still up. Those are like Granny Smithy type
Yeah, they're
animals.
Granny Smith. Yeah, I like to make applesauce out of
Yeah.
them. Slacker this year.
Okay, now I hear your neighbor up there screaming.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the goat. They have goats. That's new.
Yeah, it did sound like maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe. Okay.
They're funny. Yeah.
Now you said that you had a tree that's cursed.
Oh, that's in the gator. We'll have to go
Trees.
to the-
A cursed tree?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna have to go in the gator now, honey.
What?
Go in the gator now.
Oh,
So it's kind of icky. Hopefully.
Oh, is that what the towel's for?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think the raccoons have been sitting on it.
Oh, okay. I'm watching out for doodads here on the ground
Yeah,
too.
don't blame you,
Landmines.
because the big one likes to come out.
My trees.
Yeah, I got him here.
Okay.
Oh, I put your keys back, honey. They're by your drink. Let me get this. Oh, that's okay. There. This is really messy. Okay. There, get that. Oh, sorry. You better.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about that. Okay, let's hear this baby purr. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this off until we get to our spot. We're out of here.
I think it was a hanging tree.
Okay, we're back here. We took the alligator down here to the cursed tree. It's a big oak tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see the stupid ivy's gotten all over.
So why do you think it was a hangman's tree?
It's just got a really bad feel, and I really need to come down here and do a ceremony and help it.
Okay.
He's got to get that ivy off there. It's going to kill it.
Yeah, it's
You know
pretty
that?
much coated with ivy.
Ivy is awful.
Mm-hmm.
That's happened in the last 2 or 3 years.
Now, do you ever see anything out by this tree or on the edge of the forest out here?
Well, we used to see stuff all the time, but nothing now.
Spirits?
I've had, no, but I'll show you the meadow where I get.
Okay.
It's like a kind of a sacred place.
Okay.
It's
we're
always
headed-
felt. You want to ride in this or no?
Oh, yeah, no, however you want to do it. It's up to you. Okay, next up, we're going to the meadow. Okay, so we're back here at the meadow. We just drove the gator into an open area here.
You can see down the lower pasture.
We're looking down here at a draw or a holler, and a lot of oak trees and a couple firs and walnut trees up top.
I've seen. See, like there's a tree down there that was busted off,
Right.
and it's about that 6 foot level.
Is this a creek bed right here?
No, it is not.
It's
That's
not.
the lower pasture
Okay.
down there. I'd take you down there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay.
Not sure that we can get down there. Here, I'll show you where the creek is.
Okay. We're walking over, checking out the
There's the bedding
eastern
there.
side of the property
They're
line.
all checking it out.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that's a major bed area.
Yeah, you can get a lot of shelter under here. It's a big
Okay, here you can see the tree.
fir tree. Oh yeah, creek's right there. What's this creek?
This is the Ripdale Creek.
Okay.
That's the edge of our property right there.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty good sized creek.
Yeah. I know they call it a creek. I call it a river.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So,
Okay, so that might
look at
explain.
that tree fell.
Yeah.
Right.
So is this all yours here
Yeah.
up to the creek bed?
Yep.
Quite a bit of land.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
10 acres.
Now, will your dogs ever start acting strange when you're out here walking with them?
See, I don't leave hubby alone
Right.
that much
So
anymore.
that's the deal, is you really are in caretaker mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't get to explore.
Right. So this
Like
has
I
been a long
used
time
to.
coming, what we're doing today.
Yeah.
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 And you're putting the gator through
but
its
yeah, you know,
its tests.
that poor gator. Yeah.
It's a-
Usually not.
Yeah.
They usually don't. But at night, when it gets dark, they don't want me going out.
They don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't like me going out away from the front yard or the...
Tina, what about the lights? You know,
Yeah, now lights, I'm trying to think of...
these are things that a lot of long-term witnesses like yourself describe seeing. Have you ever seen anything like that out here? These lights in the trees that are different colors, but mainly white, like a
No, I
milky
just-
white orb?
I can't think of anything like that.
No.
I have witnessed orbs in haunted buildings, but... or mists.
A mist.
But out here...
Yeah.
You know, but I don't come out here at night just because of the threat of the cougars.
Right.
Because the cougar is marked, or a cougar, has marked one of the corner posts.
Okay.
When we go back, I'll
Scratched
show
it?
you. Oh, pissed on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because my male was trying to cover up the scent,
Okay.
and it was pretty fun.
Well,
I know.
we're going to hop back in the gator here, but before we do, I'm going to visit this tree for a second.
Yeah, because they all make a big...
Okay, so I'm back from going to the bathroom here, and Tina, you're going to tell me a story.
So I was sitting and I was watching something on Netflix on my tablet, and I heard woo, 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 really loud, okay? And I thought, oh, it's our great horned owls, you know. And it sounded like they were standing outside the window where I sit, you know. So silly me, I got up, opened up the door, and of course, quiet. But I had never heard them that close before.
You came in close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were right. Well, the tree's down now because of...
Right.
Sorry. What?
Tina's she's
Dog
picking
hair.
out blackberry thorns from her lips because we just drove through about a 6-foot tall blackberry briar in her gator.
Oh, poor Toby, I scared him.
No, that's all right. It was a good adventure.
So, but anyway, yeah, I'd never heard them that close before.
Yeah.
Because I used to hear them all the time
Yeah.
when I'd stand out in the front porch and hear them
Right.
in the trees. And then for the first time, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a barred owl out on the street. And so we've been seeing
Different variety.
Yeah. owls.
That's a good
So
sign.
that's new. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
Well, we've definitely got a new trail for you to walk with the
I
dog.
know, yeah.
All right, let's
All right,
pause
here
it
we go.
here. Here we go.
So
Start up
another
again
night-
here. Okay, we just got back here and parked the gator. Now we're standing out front of her property.
So I,
What were you going to say, Tina?
You'll see my little seat out on the porch because the peahen will alert when there's a predator
Okay.
around, okay? And she's really good about only alerting if it's a serious predator. So the cougar, the coy wolves, or forest people, as far as I'm concerned. Because the other night I came out, and I'll show you, I sit right there, and my little finches are on that side of the porch.
Right.
And then all my birds are pinned up on the bedroom side of the porch. I had to move it up there because things were getting into the coop
Okay.
and killing them. So I've got a baby monitor there and hot wire around it. Well, I can keep them safe now, you know, and I don't lose so many birds. So, but there I came out and I was talking to her. And usually when I come out, the ducks start chattering away at me. And these little guys over there usually talk too. It was dead silent. I mean, I stood out here. You couldn't hear the frogs. You couldn't hear crickets. You couldn't hear the neighborhood dogs barking. They are always barking.
Right.
Okay. Couldn't hear the goats. Nobody was talking.
So something was around.
I mean, you couldn't hear anything. And I've never heard it that quiet. It was just dead silent. Usually you could hear traffic noise and stuff.
Well, people know, I mean, that this is an active area. If you get on, any of the webmaster sites that talk about hotspots, anywhere west and east of I-5 in the Willamette Valley is always active.
Oh,
but
okay.
You're on the corridor straight to places like, Tillamook is out this way.
Right.
And Vernonia. These are all big.
Yeah, that's all north of us.
Right, yeah. So it's a great area
And then you have to remember Valsette's is up with the Valley of the Giants.
Oh.
Do you know the Valley of the Giants?
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's old.
Called that, yeah.
It's old growth.
Okay.
It's, wow, I don't know.
Like redwoods?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sequoias and things.
But, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go through, go through Grand Ron, it's shorter that way.
Okay.
Going up that way. But yeah, it's all designated,
Right.
They can't hack
I never got
down.
your side of the story.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing the dog now. You
Yeah,
got
yeah,
anything to say?
yeah.
No?
No.
They're camera shy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I appreciate your time doing
Do you
this.
have anything else?
And, well, unfortunately, I got to get back down south of us here, but
that's fine.
I really appreciate you doing this, and I want to say goodbye to
Yeah.
Bruce, too, if I can.
I wish I had a sighting, but I don't. I just have evidence.
Well, I think you're still warming up the stove with the Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Bruce.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks for making your home open for me. And then when I record this, I'll get you a copy of it, okay? Okay, now we're extending our interview here. Bruce has
Anyway.
had a sudden... You're remembering stuff
After I
now.
divorced separated from my first wife. And about the time that Bigfoot started coming out in the press and going big time, I decided I got on my bike, put a backpack on it, and I went Bigfoot hunting.
Really?
End story.
Well, I like it. Who knows what could come back? That might not be the end of the story. If he remembers more, call me. All right. Ron Morehead, Tina, and Bruce Smith. Thank you for those archive interviews. And I hope I can get back out to the Point Casino. I have the ballpoint pen in my hand. If you're ever... Well, who wants to really go to a casino with a frickin' mask on right now? I mean, you want a American Spirit cigarette and a gin and tonic and no mask on and $30 in your pocket for the one-hour bandit. That's what you want at a casino, not this version of casino. So go to the Point Casino just the same and say hi. just in case they want to sponsor me someday. All right, so anyway, I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I certainly support men in uniform for head to toe. In fact, I even applied to be a Eugene police officer at one time, and I served 6 years as a combat medic in the Navy, as a corpsman with on and off with attached to an air wing, and the Marine Corps. But mostly it was aviation physicals that I did up at Whidbey Island. But I was ready to go at a moment's notice. But things really happened when I got out of the military, to be honest. I was discharged on or about 9/11 was my discharge date, and that's when things got real. So I have nothing but respect for true blue, red, white, and blue from head to toe. Got my full support. And going back over the initial words here, just wanted to make that abundantly clear that I stand behind those that protect us when we are dead asleep and drunk off our ass. So thank you again. All right, so what else I have to say? Oh, okay, so if you go towards Strange Brow Radio and look up what a strange stroll is, These are Choose Your Tobe Adventure, based upon Choose Your Own Adventure novelettes from the 80s mainly. I remember one called Green Slime in particular. It was a big Choose Your Own Adventure. Well, the same thing applies to me. You can send me, just like you could pick the characters out of that book on little excursions. Only these are 30-minute alone challenges, just me and the place you send me. So if you go to my Facebook page or go to Strange Brow Radio's Facebook page, don't go to the Strange Brow Radio group page. That one's closed. You want the Strange Brow Radio page with the profile of the Sasquatch as the main logo. And there you can vote. You can vote on my Facebook page as well. And I'll put the link up on the website. And there you'll be able to vote on 3 different categories. One, you can, just like in these novelette books, you can choose one of 2 places. So this time, you're going to send me to the condemned farmhouse, or you're going to send me to the catacombs of this abandoned, decommissioned fort. The catacombs or the abandoned farmhouse. And you can vote online at Facebook to do that. And then there's 5 different items I can bring with me, gear, as they're listed. You pick 2 pieces of gear I can bring, a FLIR camera, a digital recorder, 1 Rainier beer. What was the other one? There's 2 other categories. A flashlight, a spirit box, and like a high-powered flashlight. So that is the gear. So you pick 2 items out of that. This is all in the poll. It's just literally go through and click the things that you see on the poll. And in the last category is you can pick what I do when I get there, either sit and wait or investigate. So you pick one of those categories. So last time I went to Hidden Hill Cemetery and brought gear. You can go onto YouTube and find that. It's up there. It's an archive video. But that's where this video will be. You have between now, the 14th, all the way, I believe, to the 28th of June, or around that time to do it. Roughly 2 weeks from today to vote on this. And then sometime after that, hopefully right after that, I will head out and film it and upload it so you can watch it and see me scared shitless. So I do that for you. All right. And also, if you're not a Patreon member, think of becoming one, because if you go on Patreon now and you are a Patreon member, you can write a review based upon the audiobook of the Al Moon Lab. You submit that review to me, either Messenger on Facebook or send me an email, or however you get this book review back to me. Then I will put your name in something we call the Haunted Boot, and then I will go live one time and pull out one of the names. But you have to be... So what's the prize? Well, the person that wins the raffle... And for some reason, Patreon doesn't like the word raffle, so I had to spell it phonetically. But we're doing a raffle, basically, and you want a shirt, a Strange Brow Radio shirt. They're super premium shirts from Teespring, and there's 3 different styles. So once you join Patreon, you can go back into the archive notes that I've wrote, and there you will see the 3 different styles. Any style you want, one of them, and I will order it and send it to you. And then later I'll probably do one for the general audience too, because I've got equally other cool items. There's a really interesting coffee mug and some socks with little Sasquatch logos on them. And then there's a hoodie. And then if we can get 1,000 people onto our YouTube channel as subscribers, that's what I really need you to do, because then I can advertise the merchandise on YouTube, and we can get hats. We can get all sorts of stuff on this website called Teespring. But right now we're limited to what we can sell because I don't have enough people buying anything. So it really helped me to have you go onto YouTube and subscribe to the Strange Brow Radio channel. And there you will find so much content, including one of these strange strolls. Okay. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Be safe. And I'll go get a can of bear spray and, hug a loved one. I will see you in the trees.